Hello. Oh, hello, and welcome to GameDev meetup number 49. Yeah, can you turn the music down, please? Yeah, so welcome to GameDev meetup 49. And today we will have one presentation from Žilvinas Ledas, and then we will have a small informational part about Game On and Unicorn, and then networking and game presentation part. So let's start with the presentation, the only presentation today. Žilvinas Ledas is a game developer, member of the board of Lithuanian Game Developers Association, and the founder of Tag of Joy, a game development company. So he will tell us about game dev situation and about game development in Lithuania. So let's call him.
Hey, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you see me, yeah?
No, yes, we see you.
Good. I'll try to share screen. Um,
Kā? Oh,
do you see my share screen?
yes.
Okay, great. So, should I start?
Yes. Go on. Yeah, start.
Okay, so, hello all. I'm Žilvinas. Oh, sorry. Damn it. So, and who am I? So, I'm co-founder at Tag of Joy. It's a small indie game dev company. I also teach game development at Vilnius University. This is more like a hobby for me, and also I'm a board member at Lithuanian Game Developers Association. So we try to make games more popular in Lithuania in all the ways possible, like for students, for to have some courses and study programs, and also we try to talk with government institutions to like get some recognition. So our company basically is very small, currently like 5 people working full-time, but we made some games and got some rewards and awards, I meant. And some projects are like this one that we do with Oslo University. It's like educational type games that situated simulations where you go, for example, in Rome, you stand in the squares and you see the view through your smartphone that was there like 2,000 years ago. For this project, it's a classic point-and-click adventure. We got funding from European Union, media programming, and this one is the game we were developing for very long. We released it on iOS and Android. We released it on iOS a month ago, and on Android it will be released this month. And it's geo-augmented reality monster fighting and collecting game. It's kind of similar to Pokemon Go, but with fights, and we started to develop it even when Pokemon Go wasn't announced. So if you have time, you can see the trailer. It's really nicely done. And so the part you are all interested in is how game development industry in Lithuania is doing. So I'll start with some history. So basically everything started like 15 years ago. Then we had less than 20 game developers that wanted to make games. Some meetups were present then, and we had in Vilnius, in Lithuania, we had second game jam in the world, and it was like in one of the meetups, some guy said, "I saw this awesome indie game jam in California, and we should do it in Lithuania." And in 3 months, they organized the game jam. It was very small, but it was really nice experience. And at the same time, first companies started to appear. The first one was one of the first ones was Evilgamus, which is now rebranded to Nord Current. They created the games for PlayStation and PC. And then some years later, like 4 years later, some guys, students, won Microsoft Imagine Cup with interactive visual projects. Then there was one, not AAA, but we could call it AA grade RTS game that was made in Lithuania. Later, those guys just went different ways. One became fourth employee at Unity Technologies, others went to DICE and other big companies. And the problem was that they were mostly enthusiasts and we had no companies. And then some years later, when the Global Game Jam started, we had the idea that we should make one in Lithuania, in Vilnius as well. So same guys now working at Unity, mostly of them came back to Lithuania, and they the timing was right. They made the game jam, and basically the first game jam had 11 participants. The game jam at 2009 had 30 participants, and this year we had about 600 participants in 4 cities. So as we can see, everything happened in like 15 years. Previously we had nothing. That's basically maybe some different people tried to make games, but they weren't released, they weren't like bigger titles and so on. So now about events. I think most of you know the biggest event in Lithuania is Game On. This year it will be third year in a row. I think most of you will come there. I hope most of you will come. Last year it had like 14,000 visitors. The tickets are cheap, so you should really come if you want to see the other developers and listen for talks and so on. Booths also are available for developers. They aren't very expensive, but you could so you could talk with organizers, and it has a lot of activities. It has conference. I think there will be 2 conferences this year as well. It has expo, it has cosplay, esports events, and so on. Next, we have this Login Game Fest event that is in spring. It's part of bigger Login conference. It's kind of tech innovation conference or so on. But it has one track for game development. That game development track is visited about like 300 visitors, but it's much more expensive to go there. We also usually have a CG event in Vilnius. I don't know about this year. I think they didn't announce it yet, but last year there were like about 100 persons, visitors, and tickets are okay. But it's mostly not about games, but about computer graphics in general. So a lot of film industry and movie industry topics and so on. Then we have Game Jam, the one I mentioned. This year we had it in 4 cities. And about 98 games were created. and we try to organize it from one place. The same team manages all the locations. Also, we have like those persons that go there and to be on the place and so on. But we try to like talk with companies for a sponsorship like one entity, so it's easier to like make them believe that the event is worth sponsoring. We also have some other hackathons and so on. For example, we have this hacker games. It's like we have 3 or 4 of them a year. It's organized by a governmental institution that promotes startups and so on, and they have games track as well. So you can go there, create game, and get some prizes or so on. We also have a game jam that is organized by students in one university, so it's nice as well. And we have some open lectures that we invite. For example, I teach in university, and every year I do at least 2 open lectures with invited guests from Unity or from other places that give talks about different topics. So I usually make them open so everyone can attend. We also have meetups, not as much as you, I think. We have 2 or 3 meetups a year. We usually try to have some speakers there, and we show prototypes and talk about things that happened. 2 years ago, we started Game Awards, Lithuanian Game Awards, because we thought that public and other developers should get like more recognition, and we want to promote local companies, local games, and so on. So we select best games in various categories, and it's really nice because sometimes some visible elsewhere, but the problem if you do it every year, because some years have less projects, so sometimes it's more difficult to get enough participants. And most of the events are organized by Lithuanian Game Developers Association, or partly organized, like Login Game Fest. So it really helps to have one entity and to connect people, to talk with government institutions and so on. Some numbers and interesting facts. So we have about 30 or 40 companies / teams. Currently, we think that we are in a state where some companies are consolidating and others, like smaller teams, are just joining bigger ones. So some games, mobile games that have bigger download numbers. I definitely know that these numbers are not big enough, but not every company shares their numbers. So I tried to like look at Google Play and so on, and talk with some representatives to get some numbers. For example, we had this game and this game that were like at US iOS store, US top 1 place, and they were really big hits. We have some games, some companies that make games like a lot of small games. For example, kids, mostly kids games. For example, these guys make racing games with different skins and so on. They have like really good numbers. The best game, I would say, is Cooking Fever by North Current, the biggest company. They have like 80 persons in Vilnius and some smaller office in Warsaw, I think. So they have huge amounts of downloads. They are in the top games, top grossing games, and so on. They also had the consistent big marketing campaign. For example, they have integrated Barcelona football team in their game, and they had Khloe Kardashian talk about their game on Instagram and Twitter. So it was a huge spread of information about the game. Also, there is this Tutu Tunes company. They make platform for kid games. Basically, their model is that as a graphic artist or a developer, you can download their tool. You make this kind of drag and drop tool where you have standard interactions and you put in your graphic elements, you make interactions, you make the game, then you contact them and they publish it on stores, and you get some revenue from the game. They recently hit 200 million downloads, and they have more than 300 games published. So not all games have a lot of downloads, but the biggest ones have 9.5 million, 4 million, 5 million downloads. So, but it's mostly kids educational games. We also have Unity Technologies office. As I mentioned, fourth Unity employee was Lithuanian. We have offices in Vilnius and Kaunas, and it's about 80 persons there, mostly engineering and QA. And I think it's the second biggest office in Vilnius of all the Unity, but I may be wrong on this. That was mobile games. We also recently, last year, got a lot of Steam games released. As you can see, I hope you can see, because it's really small list. Small font. Only 3 games were released the 2014. All the rest are later ones. So basically, we had a lot of games released last year, and some of them were released this year as well. 3 of them are VR games, so the trend is here as well that VR games are we should do VR games. The one with most downloads is this one. It's this speech that I hope you see my mouse pointer. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we see.
So it's basically very simple. The guy, one guy made it. He made a mobile game. He made it for smartphones, and after half a year, he just adapted it for controls, so for PC controls. He released it for free on Steam, and it has more than 1 million downloads. Yeah, he didn't get a lot of money for it, but it was fun for him. Other big successes, so you could say, is Shop a Keep. It's kind of a game where you play for the shopkeeper in RPG game, and it's kind of other characters come in and you sell them stuff. So it's interesting concept, and it has really good download numbers, and it has boxed copies as well in UK, Germany, and so on, because their publisher is from UK, and it's really success for them. We have this Human Fall Flat game that has a lot of downloads as well, and it was kind of nice success for the publisher as well. And we have some early access games that were really promising, but for example, Garbage Day, it was covered by YouTubers and so on. But the developer, it was just one guy, and he just was first year student, so he just didn't have motivation to finish the game. So it's half-assed release now, and so it's kind of playable, but not really nice. Sorry, my cat started playing with stuff. Okay. I hope it doesn't.
Show us your cat.
Sorry?
Show us your cat.
Oh, no chance. She's afraid of people, and when I try to grab her, she usually just runs away. So yeah, so we have a lot of movement towards PC. Some of these games are currently adapted for consoles, for Xbox and PS4. I think one is released already, but others are in development. And if you want to see, I think after the Skype call, you could open this link. We have a nice video. It's like 5 or 6 minutes with some games that were made in Lithuania. That it's a bit older, like 3 years old, but it shows some mobile titles, like 3 seconds of each, so on. So that's basically it, what I had to tell with my presentation. And if you have questions, I would be glad to answer.
Okay, thank you. So questions? So I will ask, do you hear me?
Yeah.
So how is it running a Game Developers Association and be a game developer? So, for example,
Yeah, it's yeah.
you said about Game of the Year awards, and your game was also nominated, right? So how is it?
Yeah, it was, but it was more like we knew that we will not win, but we need like 3 nominations, so we just put our game as the third one, just to have like 3 nominations, not 2. But yeah, we usually we don't we have independent voters, like not voters, but jury, that we just take people from outside, journalists, other developers from other countries and so on, and we try to make them play games, or at least watch videos and rate the experiences and what they think are better or worse things.
How did you? So there was a question from audience. How did you get 600 people to your game jam? What was your strategy to get so many people?
Yeah, I think it wasn't like overnight success, because if we would see year after year, we had like 30, then 50, then like 90, then 150, to 250, and so on. So we tried to increase the number like gradually, but we tried to not limit ourselves to game developers we know. We try to spread the word and advertise with universities, with colleges, with multimedia companies, with graphical designers and sound artists, like in forums and in Facebook groups where they just communicate. So we try to attract different people, not only like persons that develop games every day. So because we think that a lot of those persons from other areas, for example, from advertising or Flash developers, previously Flash developers, they could sometime become game developers, as in, if they want to try something different, they will know that there are like game development companies, that there are people that do games in Lithuania and so on.
Okay.
So it's a mix of things, I think.
Okay. It's. What do you consider the
do
most?
Do you hear me?
Yes. Do you hear us? Do you hear me?
Oh, okay, because my feed just stopped.
Okay.
Okay.
So do you hear us? Okay.
Sorry?
Do you hear us?
Yeah, I hear now. I think the internet connection or something is
Okay.
not really nice.
Okay, do you hear us now? Oh. Um, okay, then thank you for presentation and so see you in Lithuania in Game On.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, bye.
Good luck with VR.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, so thanks to Gilvinas. Applause. You will not hear it, but still. And now, after the presentation part, so some news from association. So the first is we'll have again a booth in Unicorn. So for the members of association, it will be for free. And a small booth of 4 square meters. Yeah, sorry. So a small booth of 4 square meters will be 100 euros. 100 euros, sorry. And for members of association, it will be 90 euros. So 10% discount. And so the event will be awesome, and you are all welcome to register as members of association and show everybody your game. So the next is the Game On. So I guess we will meet Žilvinas there and a lot of other Lithuanian game developers. It will be in 18th, in 16th and 17th of September. So we'll have again a booth for Latvian Game Developers Association. Again, it will be for free for the members of association. So the event is huge. I don't know how many, 7,000 visitors. 14,000? Okay, maybe 14,000 visitors. Most of them gamers. I would say all of them gamers. Really a good chance to market your game and get some audience. So again, send us the paper stuff and become a member of association. And now the question part. So, one beer question, one key question. So, the first question will be about a game that was released recently. It's called Resrog. And the first one who answers the question will get the key. So, the question is simple. When was the Resrog released?
2017.
Yeah, but the precise date.
March.
Nope.
May. April.
May
20 something. May.
31? Yep, exactly. So you get the key. And the next question, the beer question. So this is a quick question, quick answer. So when was the Steam Direct launched?
Today.
Yesterday. Yes, correct. So free beer. So thank you. That was it. If you have any games to show, come to the mic. If you have anything to tell, come here. If not, then let's drink beer and network.